Credible sounding lies. I want to talk to you today about narcissistic smear campaigns and their credible sounding lies. NPD or Narcissistic Personality Disorder has become a hot topic as of late, but for the most part, people are still mystified by its signs, symptoms, traits, and its devastating effects. I'm considering doing a series on the jargon surrounding narcissistic personality disorder because there is a lot. Just to arm people who are victims of people with NPD and or their flying monkeys. Yet another term that may need its own video for definition and description. People know what smearing is, right? To smudge, besmirch, soil, or tarnish a person, place, or thing. People also know what campaigns are. For example, we see politicians campaign annually for election and reelection to government positions. They do this by going all around, talking themselves up as best they can, best as possible, as the best possible option or solution to a problem, etc. They get on their soapboxes using persuasive language to convince you of something they want you to believe, whether it's true or false. Their use of emotionally provocative language encourages you to engage your emotions with their speech in an attempt to inspire you to resonate with their message. If resonance can be achieved, then people will believe. If resonance can be achieved, then people will believe. With or without exposure, the narcissist will practice preemptive smear campaigns or retaliatory smear campaigns. Listen, without ever harming the narcissist, they will mix truth and falsehood about you to your mutual friends and even the party of people or person they're eventually going to replace you with during the discard or the final discard. That way, when things go wrong with you, everyone is already prepped to blame you and feel no empathy. It's good riddance to bad rubbish. It's, whatever the narcissist did to you, you must have deserved it because all this time they have been laying the framework and the foundation of why you're such a terrible person. This is why they may tell you, for example, oh, don't trust so-and-so, don't trust a certain person, only for you to find the narcissist befriending that same person shortly thereafter. They strive to be the first to get to the new individual or audience because people tend to believe the story they heard first. It automatically puts you on the defense. Once you discover what's been going on, you're on defense. People don't take well to a defensive person, just in general. By the time you hear the lies from the smear campaign, you've lost your temper because you're aghast that people are so incredulous towards you. Like, how could you not believe me? Like, these things are outlandish, that none of this is true. Where are you getting this from? You're like, huh? What? Wait, why are you? No, that's not true. And people are like, oh, look at her beside herself. And you know what? You look as crazy as a narcissist told the audience that you were. It's almost like they pre-narrated what the future was going to be. They know they've said things so outlandishly false and unbearably untrue that you're going to have a severe reaction, and they live for that reaction. And it also proves their point, right? Quote, proves their point because you look crazy. You look a mess. Here's the deal. Credible sounding lies are one of the most successful weapons in the arsenal of the narcissist. Narcissists are adept at using slivers of truth and tying them together with false conclusions, accusations, and lies. So let's go over some credible sounding lies together, shall we? Perhaps the narcissist is a woman jealous of another woman in good standing with a good reputation in her community or religious organization. Let's use a mosque or a masjid, for example. I'm making this up as I go, so I'm just going to throw out a few names here. Let's say we have, how about Halima, Fatima, and Maryam, or just Maryam. I was going to say Maryama. Let's just make her Miriam, right? So that I don't have to roll my R's too much and get English speaking people confused, or when it's your only language anyhow. The girls, they go to the mosque, they go to their halaqat, basically these religious courses and classes. They study qaida or foundational Arabic, whatever, right? They have these things that they do together. And they tend to be around each other quite a bit because it's a community. Now, Maryam, she fits the beauty standard. She is highly educated. She's got degrees. She's in her 20s. She's not yet married, right? And all the men on the brother side of the mosque or masjid, they all have Miriam's name in their mouth. Oh, Miriam, she's so beautiful. Oh, Miriam, she's so smart. She's got such good akhlaq and adab, or manners and character. And, God bless her mother because she raised her so well. And, she's basically a local celebrity, but she deserves it. She deserves every bit of it. And maybe doesn't care too much for it because her orientation is sweet. Her orientation is sympathetic. Her orientation is kind. Her orientation is not to care much for clout. One, because she's always had it. And two, because she just doesn't, she's modest, right? So let's say, some older women, some already married women, some previously divorced women, or women who are no longer the eye-catching thing. And among them, there's a narcissist. So by far, just because you're not the Maryam of the crew doesn't mean you're hating on Maryam. You just know you're not. But then there's the narcissist who absolutely is and absolutely wants to take her out. And most people know, and it's funny because the Muslim community knows this especially well. And this is why there are laws all over the Islamic world against slander. You can go to jail for some of these things that narcissists do. Narcissists are not safe in Dubai and Sharjah and the United Arab Emirates. They are not safe there because these smear campaigns, you can go to jail for this. You can be completely arrested, taken into custody, and you can be in jail for months. Because everyone knows, especially when it comes to women, their reputation is delicate. And once you destroy it, even if they're not guilty of anything you said, people will always attach that to them. So smear campaigns are incredibly effective on men, but 10 times as effective on women. So maybe, Halimo is jealous of Maryam, and Fatima used to be something like Maryam, but, not quite anymore. She's gotten older. She's had her kids. She's settled down. She's not really worried about it. She just, she used to be the Maryam. Anyhow, Halimo tries at first to get close to Maryam. Like, oh, let me be her friend because, her clout will rub off on me and then I will look like her and then people will associate me with her and we're going to be, a pretty girl gang, whatever, right? Gang. Halima is so much of a gossip that she turns Maryam off because Maryam is really behind closed doors. She's the same person as she is in public. So when she's leading a halaqah or she's leading a conversation about how gossip and tale-bearing and al-qil wal-qal, all this he said, she said, why it's so wrong. She actually lives a life where she does not participate in that. And it burns Halimo up because now Maryam is unattracted to Halimo as an intimate companion. But, Maryam is cool with Fatima. They're okay with one another. So Halimo goes to Fatima, who is not necessarily as, disgusted by gossip, and she begins to talk badly about Maryam. And now here we get back to the point, credible sounding lies. Halimo tells Fatima that Maryam is pregnant. And that not only is she pregnant, but she also has had an abortion before. And, as far as everybody knows, Maryam has never touched a man. She's never touched a man in her life. If she's touched a man, it's her father, her brother, or maybe she bumped into someone on accident. But this girl has never gone all the way, has never, she's in her 20s and hasn't even had, her first kiss yet, right? And now someone's saying, oh, she's a phony, she's a fraud, she's a fake. That's why she puts on that front. That's why she tries to get everybody to believe she's so good, because she's got something to hide. And then Halimo says to Fatima, hey, Fatima, remember when Maryam put on all that weight after Ramadan? And Fatima's like, yeah, I do. She texts me. She texts me complaining about, that extra 10 pounds. And she's like, that 10 pounds was the baby. That was the first baby. She just didn't tell you that. And she's like, well, why wouldn't Maryam tell me? Me and Maryam are cool. She's like, nah, she don't really like you like that. Remember, her face got big. She said her hands were swollen. Even her nose looked bigger. Like, yeah, I do. I remember. Oh my God, are you serious? Watch this. Watch. I bet you she's going to come in with that same big black abaya. She's not like, she wears that like she's so religious, like she's so modest, but she's been hiding her belly. She's hiding the weight gain because she doesn't want her dad to know. She doesn't want people in the masjid to know, but, brother so-and-so dropped her off, and how is she getting out of his car? And, she tried to ride in the back of the car like, nothing happened, trying to put some phony space between her and him. Wow, I'm talking like I have experience in this. Well, I do. I definitely have experience being the Maryam. But anyhow, so Fatima is shook up. Fatima is shook up because Halimo just mixed. She just told a credible sounding lie, because she remembers when Maryam was texting her about, astaghfirullah, this extra 10 pounds, subhanAllah, how am I going to get this off? Like, I don't go to the gyms because, they're mixed and I can't find an all women's gym. And, she's talking about modesty and haya and how she doesn't want to be around, she doesn't want to work out around men. And so she's complaining, about, because men come and they record you and they take pictures of you. And, even if you're covered up, so many hijabis, because they're more covered up than the average woman in the gym, men may take even more of an interest in them, trying to discover something, I don't know, trying to unveil something. Anyhow, so Fatima's conflicted because she remembers when Maryam complained about the 10 pounds. And kept complaining and was so, upset. And really, let me not jump too far ahead. So she remembers that, and Halimo attaches that truth to a lie. The lie of, she's pregnant and this is not even her first pregnancy. She had an abortion before, and her family kept it a secret because they were afraid nobody would want to marry her if they found out the truth about her. And that's why she walks around with this goody good, reputation, because, she's just a fraud. And she's just, it's social currency. She's a social climber, and she's trying to be seen as good. So Fatima is looking at Maryam like, oh, girl, I don't even know you. I thought I knew you. I don't even know you like that. And how are you close to Halimo when you acted like you didn't even want me to talk to Halimo, and over here, you telling Halimo your deepest, darkest secrets. Like, what am I supposed to think of you? And so now there's a problem with Maryam and Fatima, and now Fatima is, not returning Maryam's salams. Maryam sees her in the masjid. She's like, Assalamu alaikum, Fatima. And Fatima doesn't say anything. Assalamu alaikum, Fatima. Maybe she didn't hear me. Let me throw it at her a third time. Like maybe she's got in headphones under her hijab and she can't hear me. But really, Fatima is disgusted with Maryam. And Maryam is innocent. And Fatima used to talk so much to Maryam that now she needs another friend to talk to so she confides, and an elder sister at the masjid, the imam's wife, the 55 plus, woman who, she kind of sits like a queen, because she's the wife of the imam, and she's just like, I don't know what to do and I don't know what to say. And then this woman, tells the imam, and the imam talks to Maryam's father about her being pregnant and then having a previous abortion. So Maryam is aghast when her father confronts her. And her father is pissed, has pregnancy tests available at the house, cursing his daughter. The mom was trying to keep him from slapping her in the face. He's so shocked. Like, when did you get the time to do this? Like, I thought you were studying. I thought you were at work. I thought you were volunteering. I thought you were teaching in the mess. When did you get time to get pregnant? And she hands her dad back, the pissy pregnancy test, and it's negative. And he continues to bring them home, and they continue to be negative. And she says, Baba, I've never known a man. I've never touched. I don't know. This is not true. So then, of course, the imam said something about an abortion. So it's just like, okay, well, maybe you had this abortion before I could find out. And because you had a previous one. And she's like, where are you getting this? This is crazy. And then, Maryam is sad or whatever. And then, Fatima finally decides to talk to her, and Maryam begins to confide in Fatima, like, I'm so glad you called me. Like, I can't even, you won't believe the things that my Abi said to me. You will not believe the things he accused me of. And Maryam is expecting to get support from Fatima. And then Fatima's like, well, isn't it true? Maryam loses her mind. How are you my friend and you don't know who I am? What do you mean isn't this? If this was true, you would have been the first person I told. I'm with you all the time. When did you see me with a man? Well, what about when brother so-and-so dropped you off? Yeah, because I had a flat and I was sitting in the back of the car and I wasn't in the passenger seat. It's a big Suburban. I'm in the back of the car. He was chauffeuring me like a Lyft driver. Like an Uber driver. What do you mean riding in a car with a brother? Who do you think I am? So there's this great big, fitna or trial, tribulation, this community fallout because Halima wants Maryam's crown. And so now that brother has been questioned about, whether or not he's sleeping with Maryam, and he's married. So his wife is looking crazy at him because they know that Maryam is the girl that all the guys have a crush on. And so, keeping this as an Islamic situation, everybody drops a wallahi bomb, right? When a Muslim says wallahi, they're basically swearing by God that something is or is not true. And the guy is like, wallahi, I've never touched Maryam. And Maryam is like, wallahi, I'm a virgin. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like what is going on here? And then Fatima is confused and goes back to Halima, and she's like, Halima, say wallahi that all this stuff is true about Maryam. And you know what Halima does? She says, wallahi. Now, what Halima just did as a narcissist, she's using heavyweights basically using the religion to exploit the mind of Fatima. Because Halima goes to the masjid or the mosque, and she prays and she fasts, and, people, or so people think, and she has no reason to think Halima would go so low. But now Halima's trying to protect herself because all of these people are involved. And if she looks like the liar, if she looks like the person who has an entire community up in an uproar, she goes down. So she sticks like glue, like gorilla glue grip, like got to be glued, like crazy glue, like she sticks like glue to that lie. And she says, wallahi. And so nobody knows what to believe. Nobody knows what to believe. They lay off of Maryam, but now this a woman's reputation, especially within the Islamic community, it's like a white rag. Once you stain it, with something, even though you wash it and it's truly clean, that little stain tends to show up. Maryam is guilty of nothing, but it was a credible sounding lie. And Fatima was like, well, what about the weight gain? And Maryam was like, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Do you mean the weight gain from after Ramadan? She's like, yeah. She's like, think about it. It's after Ramadan. We were just fasting. We all lost like 10, 15 pounds during the month because we fasted for an entire month. Well, why were you fasting for the entire month? How come you didn't have a period? Somebody said you were pregnant. Somebody said, you had an abortion and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, if I had an abortion, wouldn't I have bled for another how long? Postpartum bleeding? No. It's like, just hormonal imbalances from freaking fasting. Some people get 2 periods in Ramadan. Some people only have 1 and they're fine. And some people's hormones get so thrown off, they just don't have one. You know how women's bodies works. Maybe I ate something with the wrong preservative, the wrong carcinogen, and my body chemistry just got thrown off. Why would you think that? The Eid prayer came right after that, and you didn't see me praying. Why? Because I was having my cycle. Well, it's just a late period. It happens to women. 10 pounds? Yeah, because I went from eating 1 meal or, 1 meal a day, basically, and not necessarily 1 meal a day. Usually, Muslims are having, they're eating before the sun rises and before the sun sets. But let's say some people, if the sun rises at 3:33 a.m. and you're just like, bro, I'm not getting up. I'm not getting up. I can't do it. I can't eat at 3:33 a.m. Right. So maybe you didn't eat. And so some people, they skip suhoor or the morning meal. Some people, just whatever. Right. Some people, they miss it. Some people are religious about it. Anyhow, she's like, I went from eating, so little, your stomach shrinks when you're fasting. And then I went back to having a regular meal. Yeah, I put on weight. My body went from fasting to I'm eating this, large amount of food for the 3 days of Eid. And my body is now thinking it must have been starving. So now it's hoarding food. This is science. You can Google this. You ruined my life over me gaining 10 pounds, over me telling you I gained 10 pounds and that I didn't like it? Is that what this is about? Now I really hate those 10 pounds. And, Fatima gets it. Fatima knows Maryam. And, sooner or later, Halima demonstrates the same behavior with somebody else. Maybe it's some months later. Maybe it's some years later. And now Fatima's like, whoa, I ruined my relationship with Maryam. I'll never get that friend back again because I believed a credible lie. It made sense. The weight gain made sense. Wearing the big clothes made sense. Being a fraud made sense. Being afraid of societal pressure and a shame-based culture where you're afraid nobody will marry you or value you if you besmirch something about yourself. Like, oh, it made sense. It made sense. It made sense. And even though Maryam is completely innocent of these things and no one ever proved anything against her, people are looking at her differently. And there's nothing she can do about it. The more defensive she gets, the more it's like, yeah, Halima said she was crazy. Halima said she was going to act like this. She said this is exactly what she was going to say. She said every time Maryam is lying, she says, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And that's exactly what she said. So we know she's lying because Halima knows her. She always starts speaking in Arabic whenever she lies. That's what Halimos said. Here's the deal. These things, these credible lies can destroy people's lives. Can destroy people's, I mean, when you destroy a person's reputation, part of the reason you can sue for that, you might not go to jail for it like you would in the Middle East, but that's part of the reason people can sue you for libel and slander and character defamation and pain and suffering, because there are certain lies that you can slander people with. They just can't get back what they used to have or be. You know, maybe Miriam was this extroverted girl and now she's a total introvert. She's a total recluse. Now, you know, the children in the community are suffering because she quit teaching at the Islamic school because that's where the slander happened. Maybe she moved to a different community and she doesn't know anybody. And now, you know, she's not safe and people are harassing her and she doesn't have, you know, like just so much drama can come from these kind of things. So the moral of the story is to be careful of credible sounding lies. I mean, really and truly, you shouldn't be listening to, if a person isn't providing you evidence of something that they're saying, you shouldn't be listening to it anyhow. But we as people, you know, we build rapport with one another and we're like, oh, maybe this person is, you know, that's my friend. I know her. It's okay. I know that's happened to me several times where someone has a friend and they're just like, well, she was my friend. I didn't think she would lie like this. I'm just like, well, now you know your friend. Now you know her under pressure. Now you know what she looks like, you know, when she's facing a woman that she feels like is better than her or you know, superior in some area. Now you know. And if they can do that to me, they can do that to you. They can do that to anybody. So watch yourself. But definitely, you know, there are these preemptive strikes that narcissists will take where like you haven't even done anything to them, but they're just, you know, laying the foundation for when a smear campaign comes that will then be successful. So again, watch out for credible sounding lies because it's probably one of the most successful weapons. I mean, weapon of mass destruction, no pun intended. Like 0% pun intended, because none were found where they were looking. But I'm just saying, like, these credible sounding lies cause mass destruction. So, like, share, comment, describe. Tell me about a time in the chat where somebody told a credible sounding lie on you. I would love to hear it, read it, react to it. And, I mean, let's heal together. It would be wonderful if all of us knew the signs and the tricks of the narcissistic trait, because once you've dealt with one, you've dealt with all of them. And spotting the traits of a toxic person is the best thing that you can do. Spotting the traits before you get involved with them. Because once you get involved with them and they get their emotional hooks in you, good luck. But if you can just observe and be like, oh, this and that trait, let me not get too close to that person, you know, that would be the thing to look for. So all the best to you and your development. And I would say the channels that helped me with growing past narcissistic abuse was definitely the Little Shaman, ASSC Direct, and Permission to Exist. I don't think I have to. If I keep talking about Dr. Ramani, I'm just beating a dead horse. She's obviously the queen of this. But those are some channels that I binged for years, just watching every last video, all of their content, in order to help me out of narcissistic abuse and to be able to recognize it and take a stand. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I am Uppity and I am up out of here.